This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to Talkin the Gridiron here, week 6. We got the whole complimentary back here together. And for a turn of events, 2 of us feel the victorious side, but one of us finally ends up on the losing bracket this week. So we'll get a different feel of emotions this week on Talkin the Gridiron here as we get the top guys up here getting the W's. And we got our guy down here.
Hey, Jimmy, you helped us out. I wanted you to beat Seattle. So.
I'm sure. Yeah. I wanted you to beat Pittsburgh week 1. When we play in a couple of weeks, we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna enjoy this one today.
we should leave no doubt. Brian, we got to say, though, it is Jimmy's birthday today here. So we got to wish the man happy birthday here. Be sure to check them out at Far End of the Bench Podcast. We were talking a little bit before you on. I didn't ask you, though. How old are you actually, though?
26 today, 9:30 this morning.
Brian makes us feel like we're old men a little bit there. We hear that 26, but that's all right. We can deal. We can deal with it. We can be the veterans on the show a little bit here. And I like it. He's rocking the Bengals jersey. We'll get to them in just a second. But let's start with the games of the day here in week 6, right? The upsets. The upsets of the day. Nobody was expecting the top 2 teams in the league to go down. Brian, I heard you guys on TMB Sports. You guys weren't that concerned about the W or about getting a W. They come out flat a little bit after that early start. They don't pick it up on offense. You guys get your first loss. The Eagles on the other side, they kind of jump out to a little lead, Jimmy, and then they kind of get stalled out there for a while. Credit to the Jets defense for getting the job done, and Wilson making enough plays that when he needed to, and then Hall obviously gets the big run there as well. Jimmy, what do you think? Which one stands out to you more? Which loss is more surprising, the Eagles or the Niners?
It's probably both of them are surprising because those were the 2 teams that everybody saw. I still think that they're going to be able to bounce back. It was a little bit strange. I guess I was a little bit concerned with the Eagles because we were watching that game. And I know the 49ers didn't play well today, but you can at least say they didn't play well against a good defense. But the Eagles could not respond to any of the adversity that I saw. Jalen Hurts, instead of bouncing back from throwing an interception, threw 2 more. And the offensive line, as good as they are, looked weak against the pass rush. They weren't able to run the ball the way they wanted to. They should have been able to finish this game. Why are we thrown in that situation? That's what I was talking about with the offensive coordinator. He's been off all season, and this is one of those games where when you have those little missing pieces that we've seen, they've accumulated now to the point where you aren't undefeated anymore. Now you have to actually address this situation. And for the love of God, Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. Start him off running the football. Don't make him throw 45 times a game.
We got our guy here.
Is that a guy that lives in Wikia?
Yeah, it's Tyler. Tyler changed his name to WikiUp Elite, so that's Tyler over there. He says he is concerned over here that I like Doug coming in with the dogs for Johnson. The dogs get the W today over your Niners. You weren't concerned. The dog pound delivered. Why did the Niners lose this game? Was Purdy just realistic again? Was he just kind of back to normal? What happened?
Just too much injuries, and we had penalty issue. We just didn't play. We just weren't focused enough. Like, I don't know.
What did you make of that penalty at the end on the late hit, like where they called it across the middle?
That was just like it was a horse shit penalty, and they know it was.
There we go. Jimmy, they said that one would have changed the game a little bit, but I feel like in the midst of a whole game, the Niners get plenty of calls as well. So I feel like, Brian, you can't blame it on that one. And the Browns were down players too, but that Samuel going down early when he was kind of getting into it at the beginning of the game with people, that was kind of a little bit of like a momentum shift.
It's not Samuel. It's not having McCaffrey at the end of that game is what killed. It's what killed Kyle Shanahan. It's what killed Brock Purdy. And it's what killed the 49ers offense. So is
McCaffrey, Jimmy, the real MVP of this team then? Is that
he is the engine, because not only is he the guy that starts your run game, he's the guy that gets another weapon in I think he's the engine that drives the entire offense. Kyle Shanahan, ever since he had Chris McCaffrey, after that first week where he had the 4 days to lead into it, he's the quintessential Shanahan running back. He's Terrell Davis, but quicker and better out of the backfield. He is whoever. I remember Alfred Morris had a really good season under Kyle Shanahan. Like this guy is everything for that 49ers offense, and he needs to be healthy because when he's not on the field, you can cover George Kittle. You can cover Ayuk the way that they did today. The Browns defense is damn good, but they still have so many other weapons that we thought losing one or two guys might not be the worst thing. That definitely was the case. Not having Christian McCaffrey is going to hurt.
We got Doug here.
But I mean, I don't see that as a serious injury. I think he'll be back next week.
Do you think though? I wouldn't be surprised if they rested him though either. If it does linger a little bit, because like you said, he is the main. That's the thing with the Niners, right? You look at the Vegas odds, and you have Purdy was like his odds jump to be like all the way like to like one of the top 5, and it's like, well, is McCaffrey really the big guy when you have a game like this where you kind of see those things? He says the Browns got hosed as well, Brian, many times in the game.
Get out of here.
They got hosed many times during the game. I thought
they still almost lost it. If Moody would have kicked that field goal, they would have lost.
It did come down to kicking. The Browns did not win that game. The 49ers kicked that game away.
Missed one on the left. What's he do? He makes the adjustment, misses the one going to the right. His first 2 misses of the year. Not a good time.
But let's not pile on Purdy just because of a mediocre game. It doesn't mean he's not good. He's still a good quarterback.
I think it's one of the things.
Losing your most dynamic offensive weapon is going to kill any offense.
Yeah. Can I go back to the Eagles real quick before we move on? So you mentioned Hurts is just a running quarterback, right? But he's a damn good one.
Just a running quarterback.
I know what you meant.
He needs to start the game running. He's not. I've said it a couple of times already. I think on this show, and I said it on my show. He's not Joe Montana. He's not. It's not. His game is not based on footwork. His game is based on athleticism. He can read a defense, but you got to get him moving first. So that's where I stand with Jalen Hurts. It's not that he can't throw the football, but he puts himself in such better situations if they can get the offense going, get the run game going. He has play action. That's where he's most deadly.
I mean, a killer turnover at the end of the game, a killer one. I mean, you can't make that, right? That was a
3 of them. Yeah. 3 turnovers, and they almost got away with it. It was like Scooby-Doo at the end. I almost got away with it. If it wasn't for you meddling kids and the fact that your defense is so good. I watched them in person last week in Denver. They are as advertised. Quincy Williams, that 96 dude, Shelton, whatever his name is, the guy that's big as 5 houses. Whew.
And did their star cornerback not even play today?
Yeah, Sauce was out.
Yeah, so he wasn't even in the game. I thought that was a really impressive win for the Jets. Brian, maybe we have to we put them on the list.
If the score holds for Sunday Night Football, they're tied for the division lead with Buffalo.
Crazy. I mean, could you imagine our Bills guy there? I got to shout out them. They do the other sports show. I don't know if you heard them. They do a lot of wrestling and fighting stuff here on Variety Sports Network. Jimmy, he's a big Bills fan. So he'll be, if they get the Bills are one of the weirdest teams. I mean, you talk about a team that just goes up and down. What do we got score wise there as we check in for the first time?
It's 6-0, but the Giants just got a big takeaway.
A big takeaway, 6-0. Fumble or interception here?
I want to say interception, and don't quote me on it right now, but I think that Allen is out. I saw him go to the medical tent. I don't know if he came back out on the field.
You're right. It wasn't.
I thought like a couple plays later he was running back out on the field, but I could have been wrong.
I haven't been paying enough attention. I just saw when they were celebrating the interception last. I have the split screen right now. For those baseball fans, if Logan's watching, Texas is up 2-0, top of the 6th, 2 outs.
There you go, Adam.
Look at my predictions, looking good right now.
He's back. What's the guy he always says? Allen. He kind of has. It's funny. I would never put this name on him, but he does have moments where you're like, he does feel like Carson Wentz at times. Where you're like, my gosh, man, he just has a terrible. Like his games are so bad sometimes, right?
He is Brett Favre reincarnated. Like I literally had the same conversations with myself watching the 2 of them play, and I said last week when I picked Jacksonville to beat them that he was going to have one moment where he totally It happens with my PS3 because my controller sometimes it hits the L1 button and that's the
we don't want that.
So I break into the open field. Then all of a sudden I'm chucking it 15 yards back. I've seen Josh Allen do that too many times. I've seen him throw interceptions where you're like, dude, there's 2 safeties on the field. You can very clearly see it. 1, 2, and you throw it right in the middle. No matter how hard you throw it, you're just throwing it harder into the defender's chest because you did not. Your play is it's dead from the start. He's Brett Favre without the Super Bowl ring right now.
I'm loving the honesty here. Brett Favre sucks. Screw the Packers there. I like you
She's
that.
a Vikings fan.
I appreciate this one by Doug here, just to kind of just a little bit more salt and brine where we can get it. Well, we can get it, Jimmy. Well, we can take a loss. We're probably not going to have many of these we can get over Brian this year. So with that kid, Purdy was terrible today, Johnson. That's the thing I'm going to keep. He wasn't very good, but he's allowed to have a bad game. He's allowed to have a bad game. I'm not going to kill him for it.
I'm sure the media is going to hound him.
Trent Williams okay? Because Trent Williams might have been. Did he come back?
That worried me when I went out. He came back in though, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Because as much as I said I went on that rant for McCaffrey. Trent Williams is the true engine of the offense.
There you go. Now you're at your roots, the offensive line guy. We got to get him in there.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. All the players that you talk about in the NFL, they're like the freakiest athlete among all the other freaky athletes is Trent Williams.
Well, I wanted to start there because I just thought it was fascinating that both teams undefeated, right? They lose in kind of, just an ugly fashion, right? But, no game really, neither game gets over 20 points. So just a real ugly game. Both teams lose to AFC teams. So technically with the Lions winning, I guess the Eagles and Niners still have the home field advantage because they lost to AFC teams out of NFC teams. But like we said, we got a long ways to go. Let's get to
the Eagles have a tough game next week.
Yes,
Miami on Sunday Night Football.
Yes, they do. We'll get to that one, I'm sure, later on in the evening. We finally have a good Sunday night game, Johnson. That'll be fun, good to see. All right, let's get to your other game of the day. I thought it did help out the Niners. Seahawks did lose, right? So that helps out Brian at least with the standings there. You got the Rams coming a little bit, but your Bengals. I got to see a lot of this game today. It wasn't the prettiest game. They look a little bit more sure of themselves, a little bit more offensively. I think it's because for me they're going to chase a little bit more. They're just kind of, it seems like they're trying to feed him a little bit, or at least early. Maybe today they kind of got away for it. But their defense, Jimmy, I thought after that one performance, it seems like they've kind of picked up some momentum. And that combination of Hubbard and Hendrickson can be, what trouble they can be at moments. And they made a pretty good offense not look very good today.
Hendrickson is elite. He's an elite pass rusher at this point. He plays the run really well too. Hubbard's more of just a pure defensive lineman. I get what Taylor's saying with it's better to win ugly than lose pretty. That's obvious. That's the case. My issue comes in like that interception Burrow threw. Jamar Chase did not even put his hands up. He so badly wanted the referee to throw his flag so that the play would be taken off of his plate that it bugs me. It worries me because you can't do that in those moments. If you're truly always open, which is what he said and which is the chain that he had made, then you got to make that play. You got to bail your quarterback out. It was a shitty ball. That ball should not have been thrown by Burrow. But you cannot – Devontae Smith, that game was over for the Philadelphia game. He still punched the ball away from the defender. We were very much in a tight ball game. Geno Smith at that point looked like he was going to lead the comeback. And that was the effort that I saw. Like, yeah, you win. Yeah, it's nice to be 3-3, and I believe the bye week's either this week or it's coming up, so you're getting there. But no, if we play a team that's somewhat halfway decent, like when we play San Francisco, that's going to be killer for us. We're going to get absolutely mauled. Seattle was a good team. It's good. It's a nice win. It's a good win at home. But there's so many question marks. There's so many issues, and you're still like, I don't feel good about this. I'm not nearly as confident as I was at the beginning of the season.
It's funny because, you guys do now go to 3-3, right? So you look at that, you're right there in the division still. But it is kind of, you guys can at least lean your hat a little bit on the defense now, though. Or maybe it seems like that. Instead of having to always have to outscore.
Until we do lean our hat on the defense, and that's a game that they decide to give up 40. That seems to be the trend for us.
Brian, you starting to believe in the Bengals again a little bit, or no?
Yeah, they're a scary team because they got Burrow and they got Jamar Chase, and
that first touchdown pass today was dirty.
Yeah, that first one was pretty
That's
nasty.
the thing that scares me about that game in a couple weeks in San Francisco. Is Jamar Chase is a beast, man. Guy just makes plays.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I mean, but that's the thing is, can the Bengals protect Burrow? That's always the thing.
No, they will not.
They
Nick
will not.
Bosa is going to introduce himself to his former college teammate over and over and over and over. He's just going to beat him over the head. I don't feel good about that game.
Well, you still got to be the Browns beat them, so maybe you get a little. Maybe the Ohio guys sweep the.
The Browns were a lot tougher than us too.
Well, I will say
the Browns
this.
did the same exact thing to us.
Bengals Nation, you got them right here. If you got a chance, you let them know. Give them a little bit more confidence. Make them feel a little bit better here about it. But I'm probably sure Bengals fans are with you a little bit. That last drive where they killed 15 seconds was kind of a Bengals drive there at the end as well, when they did nothing in the dang on a 15-second drive.
Our defense will get it done. Yeah, you're not playing.
That's basically what it went to.
Hey,
I thought it was funny, Jimmy, because when you looked at the schedule, guys, the start of the week, you're like, oh, some of these matchups aren't like the best in the world here, like you'll see. But the best record-wise, or one of them was the Lions at Tampa Bay. Turned out to be kind of a snooze fest in terms of Tampa Bay doing anything on offense. Detroit pulls away. More my thing is just real quick on Detroit is just, I mean, I think what they say out of the last 16 games, they have the third best record, Jimmy, over these last 16 games stretch. Like, this isn't really as we call fake news anymore. This team is pretty legit, and their defensive line and offensive line are the real deals.
Yeah, their offensive line, Dan Campbell's said multiple times, the best player on his team is it's Penei Sewell. And they drafted him. They have Frank Ragnow. They dominate the line of scrimmage. And they're at the point now where they're not the underdog. You're not thinking, oh, they're scary, like you don't want to see them. They're a team now who has to go out and I appreciate that. That's coming. I've already given – you don't need any more credit for Myles Garrett, but I have given you credit. Myles Garrett is the true monster. Hendrickson's not that level yet, but Hendrickson is very good. No, the Lions right now, they're at a point where if you're supposed to beat this team, I need you to beat this team, and it can't be accidental. You have to start making statements. You cannot, you've done the season where you didn't know how to win. You've done the season where you didn't know how to win close games. This should be the season where it all is put together. Jared Goff is a guy who's been around, been to a Super Bowl, won an NFC championship. You can do this. Do not see yourself as this fairy tale anymore. If you picture yourself as the pet carriage that's going to turn into a pumpkin at midnight, then that's what's going to happen. Just assume that you're invited to the dance now. That's what you need to start doing, Detroit.
It's funny to see like fans now of Detroit taking over stadiums, Brian. Like you see the videos. They're like,
I'm sure Casey's loving this right now.
What did Casey predict NFC Championship game, right? So
yeah, for the Lions.
Well, he always has one pick that surprises us, that works out. So I guess this is going to be the one this year, even though it shouldn't be too big of a surprise when we talked about how well they've done. Jimmy, you brought up the pumpkin. I think Tampa Bay, I feel like we saw, like, if they did win this division, let's just say, because the division is what it is, this is what we would get in the first round. Don't you feel like? I mean, this is what we get. I don't think they would. Yeah. I don't see them giving too much more than this in a playoff effort against one of the top three teams.
It doesn't seem like they're interested. Like, Baker is definitely interested. Baker's still trying to play himself into another spot. Everybody else on the team looks like they've kind of phoned it in. Like, Mike Evans isn't bailing anybody out anymore. Godwin.
He pulled up on a couple balls today, I noticed a little bit too.
Yeah. It's just,
I'm not blaming him for not wanting to get blown up. I'm just saying.
They sold their soul, kind of like how Nico was saying for the Broncos. Like, they sold their soul for their Super Bowl, and they got it, and they got a very dominant Super Bowl win. Kind of like how they did the last time, though, where you traded for John Gruden, you brought in everybody that you needed, all the toys were assembled for 1 year, one magical run. You got it, and now it's just going to be a lot of mediocrity. It's going to be a lot of 6 and 7 going into the stretch of the season. Great.
That's not what.
Is Mike Evans a free agent at the end of the year?
Mike Evans. Hold on. We got Logan Stone breaking news here. Getting my anger out now since the Cowboys play tomorrow. How could you lose to the Chargers? That's horrible. 28-13. That's
Logan,
Cowboys.
Logan, go back to the ALCS. I'm watching right now.
What's our ALCS update? What do we got there?
Top of the 7th. No change in the score. Still 2-0 Texas.
All right, 2-0. You're right, 2-0. You said 1-0 there. Those are a little basic.
I think you just didn't. Darren anointed Houston. He said just because they're playing the Rangers, it's going to be Houston and Philly in the World Series.
I think that's the way it's going to go there again. I think it's going to go Houston, Philly again. As I get back to the best of the rest here with the Lions, like I said, real quick, we'll put a little bow on them. It is funny to see their fan base now just kind of not in a bad way, like they deserve it a little bit, right? But like you see them selling out games in the sense they're going to be going to more away games. Now that they're actually winning, you can just see it. Maybe you felt that same way with the Bengals, Jimmy.
I definitely see it. I see it. I saw it in the game that we watched today. And by the way, the Bengals were the Southwest regional game. That's why you saw it on CBS. That's why I saw it on CBS. That's why a lot of the country saw it on CBS today. So it's true. Like when you start doing good things, when you are consistent and the NFL knows that they can put you in different spots, you get what you want. And Detroit's about to get what they want.
Logan, thank you for that.
You know what I would love to see is either Detroit versus my Niners or Detroit versus Philly in the divisional round.
Well, I mean, those are the best teams. I mean, if we want the best pure matchup of teams that are going to be the most physical, those teams all have the same thing in common, right? They're up front. It's pretty good. That's one of the things that we got with it.
They all do the same thing, but they do it in different ways, which
That's
is
true.
Because the Lions are like a sledgehammer where there's no finesse whatsoever. Yep. I would say the Eagles are a battering ram, and the 49ers is like a world-class locksmith because they create the openings before they go in. You're busting the door down, and two of them, one's a little bit more organized, and then the 49ers is just a stealth mission. Like basically have Tom Cruise descended over a whole bunch of lasers. Dun, 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 dun. That's Chris McCaffrey.
It just keeps making
my God, it's Mike Shanahan.
Movies.
yeah, you know, Mission Impossible 30. Coming up soon. What's the one they kept doing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the Impossible one or something like that, where they had like all the star Expendables or something like that.
Expendables,
yeah. I was like, Expendables 4. Come on now. I was like, what are we doing here? I was like,
I'm going to see Expendables 4 this week. I have the week off of school for fall break, so.
Is it I'm not thinking the Denzel, whatever the Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington is the Equalizer 3. Okay. I will also be seeing the Equalizer 3.
I like those ones.
I love those ones.
Yeah. Do you like one or two better at this point? Just curious. They're all both pretty good.
Of the Equalizer, I love two.
Yeah. Okay. What's that one where it's the comic book one and he kind of has the same idea where he kills? It has like the skull on
the Punisher.
The Punisher. Thank you. Yeah, that one's a good one as well. John Travolta. It's always in there. A little shout out there. All right,
that's an insane movie.
It is very insane. A few people die. All right, best to the rest in there. I wanted to bring this one up because they got down 14-0. Hill gets the touchdown. Gets the cell phone. Little shout out to Joe Horn. Does the flip. Gives it back to the fan. I mean, I want to go kind of two ways with this. Is Hill the best receiver in the NFL? Is it not close? The guy just is unreal at what he does. He might be not the biggest and your typical like go up and get the ball down, but like just what he provides in space is unreal. And then you have the Panthers side real quick. Is there any concern for Bryce Young? Or are you, Jimmy, just like it's a rookie year, whatever happens, just get reps?
They're not in a place to really be concerned with his performance. Next year will be where you can start seeing if he is going to take a step forward, he will make the team better. But this year, the team is just going to be horrible. Hill, he poses a lot of issues, but I feel like defensive coordinators, they really don't care about stopping him or slowing him down until you get towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. Nobody's going to show you the blueprint on how to slow Tyreek Hill down right now. Because if they show it to you now, then everybody's going to know how to do it. Everybody's going to know your tricks. So I think that defensive coordinators are kind of using the beginning part of the season, which we're still in. We're still in like the first half, technically, of the NFL season, where they're compiling all of this film. And then when we go out and we see the Dolphins in later stages of the season and in the playoffs, they're going to have an answer for Tyreek Hill. Now, are the Dolphins going to have an answer for teams shutting down Tyreek Hill? That's been their issue for the last 2 years under McDaniel.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, what do you kind of make of that with the Hill part of it? You think he's the best receiver still, or one of the best receiver in the league right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's so quick. He's so quick.
Insane. And then I love the flair he has. The Dolphins needed some momentum. There was a play with 14-0. He gets a play out of bounds, gets about 28 yards, kind of pumps out the crowd, kind of like you would see in basketball a little bit after an AM1 or something. And he's kind of jacks up the crowd. I was like, I mean, they should win that game, but you could see the momentum in a Miami crowd. Like, all right, let's get a little life. You need to provide it. So that was a little impressive, something different than what I saw with him. And Miami, with all that motion they run, it's like 80% on every play. Something stupid like that. 85% of their plays, they're running motion. So it's really fascinating the system they have locked in right now with Waddle in there and Hill and Mostert, your ex-Niner there, is looking really good for the Dolphins too.
I mean, if they can go into Philly and win in Sunday night, then that's a big win for Miami.
What do you think of this? Not the best. He's the best weapon, not the best receiver. I mean, I don't know. That's the position?
He's not a true receiver. No, because what they're saying there is that he not that he's not a true receiver, but he's not Calvin Johnson beating you with routes or size. Like he's beating you with the one thing that you know he has. But you can't throw up 50-50 ball to him. You can't really throw him a post over the middle. He's got to be booty butt naked, open to really be as effective as he can be. So that's why he's the best weapon currently, but he's not the best receiver because a great receiver can take the route that's called and he's just going to beat you. He's going to run it by the book and he's going to beat you. That's a receiver.
Not the
Tyreek Hill's a weapon.
The one thing also Hill does really good is anything like any type of like the quarterback rolls out just a little bit or it has to get off kilter.
He's great at the scramble drill.
So unreal at that. He's just like knows how to get open right there with it. Other quickly, best of the rest here. We got to go shout out our guys over. Oh, I did want to mention that Dolphins game just because he was such a great player when I was growing up. I got it down here on the ticker. The Dolphins honored linebacker Zach Thomas. I just thought he was a beast playing. 5th-round pick of the NFL. He caused a lot of problems for the league over the year, 7-time Pro Bowler. So wanted to shout him out a little bit here as the NFL honors one of the greater linebackers ever played the game. Gave the Raiders a big trouble for a while there whenever they would go to Miami for games. Washington, they pull it out. They get the W in a ugly win. Ritter looked awful. I was because I have the 4-screen thing.
I thought he was supposed to be good at home.
They had it at Papa's Pizza where I went. They had a little 4-screen, and I just keep seeing Ritter goal line. Nope, comes up short, intercepted. Slant, nope, inside or out, picked off right there at the end of the game. Has to be very. And then Arthur Smith, I didn't understand it when it was 24, whatever they get 16 on the touchdown. He goes for 2. And then they get the penalty, and he continues to go for 2. So, and then they don't get it. It's 20. Why are we not just kicking the field goal to go to 24-17? I don't know. That was kind of a little bit of a weird call to me as well. Jimmy, I don't know how much of you saw of the game, but the Commanders, to me, every time I watch them play, I'm like, they're just going to get the 7 seed somehow. Like
they're not good enough to win. They're good enough to be there. They're good enough to exist.
Exactly.
They win. They're the Giants from last year. That's who they are. And then they're from the same division because the quarterback, we're like, every now and then he's really good. Every now and then he's really bad.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where he's looked absolutely awful. There's a couple times where you're like, damn, I would love to have Sam Howell. I cannot believe my team passed on Sam Howell. Why would we do that? And you start stamping your feet around. But then I feel if you're in Atlanta, the end of the Ritter experiment has to be soon. Not to say that you need to get him out of there, but you need to have somebody else because I don't think there's competition. I don't know who their backup is right now, and I wish
I'll look it up while you go.
I wish that they were listening so that they would throw it out at me, either the Dirty Birds or out of your Falcon mind. But you have so many other great pieces. Drake London,
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, maybe you go to him because you're going to get a wild card experience for the end of the season, but Desmond Ritter is not your franchise quarterback. You tried, you swung, and it's basically a bunt down the third baseline. He's good some days, he's not good other days, but if he can't win at home, which is the only thing that he's been good at doing in college and the pros, we got to figure something else out. You got to put somebody else back there. He's holding back Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. He's holding back
300-yard games, though.
Okay, but you're losing your team games.
Yeah, I just throw it out there. as try to play a little devil's advocate. Like, what would a Falcons fan? I think they're with you.
I'm pretty sure Brady threw for 500 yards in that Super Bowl they lost.
Exactly. It's the turnovers, especially the goal line ones. You can't have those ones at all. Brian Bijan, like you said, only what he go today when I was looking at, he got 13 attempts, only 37 yards. He They're not able to.
They got to get him more involved. I don't know.
He needs 20 touches minimum. He should have 20 touches by the end of the first half.
He had 5 catches, I guess, 43 yards. So I guess he ended up with 18 touches, but definitely not the production you'd want to see on the ground there if you're a Falcons fan. And they're in a whole, 3-3. Both these teams to me just feel like where, you know what I mean? They feel like it's a 7 seed or they, you know what I mean? Or they're going to kind of, I just feel like they're like 8 and 9 teams, 9 and 8.
I don't think that the Falcons are still more in their division conversation than the Commanders are.
No doubt.
That's why also it's intriguing that they have Heineke, because Heineke has shown if you just give him the reins, he can make some weird stuff happen. And you gotta rely on weird this year. If you're an Atlanta fan, you're not beating anybody straight up. You're not going to stand there and go toe to toe with anybody because your quarterbacks just don't have that. You have the ability everywhere else, but you're very much you're like the New York Jets. You had a quarterback, you'd be so much scarier than you actually are.
No doubt. I got to shout out our guys here at Elite Tweet Center. Like I said, our guys at the other sports show, they just retweeted our podcast here along with our guy Seawood out there in Birmingham. Appreciate you retweeting our stuff here on Talking the Gridiron. Feel free to comment on any of your shows. I know the one on Twitter. I have a harder time. I guess they say they commented on the Twitter one, but I can't see them up on the screen. So I'll have to figure that out with Brandon one of these times.
I don't know if it shows you.
Tonight it seems like Tyrod Taylor is running the offense better than Daniel Jones is. That's kind of scary for the Giants.
Well, to me, it was scary when you decided to pay Daniel Jones that much money. He deserves what you get when it comes to that. Is it still 6-0 here? We got 6-0 start of the third quarter.
6-0, 14-22.
Yeah, they had a bad goal line play where they
Tyrod going for 8.
Yeah.
Well,
but I guess their coach was going ballistic on people in the end zone.
I could buy. What's their coach? I forget.
Ryan Dable.
That's what it is. Yep. So how Commanders get it? Terrell, congratulations on the win there. Sorry, John, Mike, over at Out of Your Falcon Mind. You guys dropped to 3-3. Calais Campbell does get his 100th career sack in that game. Wanted to point that out.
I didn't realize he was still playing. Colorado boy.
Yep. So he ended up getting
Denver South High School.
Colorado State pulled off the miracle. I was watching that one when they were 30. It was 30-14. I just randomly put it on at the end of the night, and they ended up pulling it out.
Hopefully you didn't watch Stanford the night before.
That one I went to bed. I thought for sure Colorado was winning that one, and then Colorado is the talk of the town this year. So 100th sack, big deal. I always feel like those are pretty big milestones for a player to get to. So. He's been around for a while. Was on my Cardinals for a while, and some of their good years was with the Ravens
forever.
I think my biggest memory is like they played Seattle the year he was on the Jags when they had Blake Bortles, and I guess there was like almost like a fight between Seattle and Jacksonville, and somebody from Seattle was like yelling at the Jacksonville crowd, and Calais Campbell got involved in it or something. That's the best memory I have of him.
I kind of forgot he was on that Jags teams that were really good. Then they had the Jags did have that 2-year run where they had like a defense was really good there. They took the Pats all the way there. They forced them to. They probably should have won that game if you look back at it. So I want to shout that out with it. Hey, this is always. I'm gonna maybe do this throughout the year. It's kind of fun as we did this last week a little bit. What teams are we crossing out the list? So we had Patriots.
Oh, we already crossed the Broncos up? Are we sure?
We did cross the Broncos on. Me and Brian did last week, Jimmy.
Are we sure?
Are the Patriots going to get the number 1 pick this year?
Man, that's what. So I was thinking, Jimmy. Obviously, you went to that Broncos game. Wasn't able to get your thoughts on it last week, but they end up losing this week in another pathetic offensive performance. They look like they're just a dumpster fire. The Peyton's taking a little bit. I feel like Wilson's taking a little bit more of the heat this year, obviously, than Peyton, just a little bit. But they lose that Jets game where it was kind of the trash talking at the beginning of the year. So I'm assuming it wasn't much better being there watching that offense.
It's very similar whether you're watching it on TV or you see it live. They just have absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And it's funny because like Wilson, if you look at his stats before like the last couple of games, they were okay, but the stats are stats, I guess.
They don't want to play. None of the players want to play either for Sean Payton or for Russell Wilson. And Jerry Jeudy is a bum who's more worried about a war of words with Steve Smith, who's in the right and is telling the 100% honest truth. Jerry Jeudy has quit on the Denver Broncos. If you are somebody who's wearing orange and blue and still think that he's there for the team, you are sadly mistaken. The dude is not there to play. There's a ton. Cortland Sutton, not there to play. Russell Wilson, not there to play. Mike McGlinchey, not there to play.
Mike McGlinchey.
I guess they said Russell Wilson probably won't be back, and they're doing a full-on rebuild.
Yeah,
there's no way they can bring him back.
I said if this didn't work out, Sean Payton has now got his excuse to totally blow everything up to the ground, and he's going to build it the way Sean Payton wants because he's that much of a narcissist. He's that kind of Roman emperor. He's going to burn everything else before him down and then build it in his own image.
I can see Wilson somehow being on this team a little bit. I'm going to throw the Bears out there as a team that I think we can put on the list of not making. I think they're dead, and I think we have
broken wrist for Justin Fields.
I mean, you go out, you have an impressive win against the Commanders, and then you do this shit. It's like you're the Bears.
Yep, and they just never can get it together. All right, so you guys good with me adding the Bears? I'm going to add the Bears and the Panthers. I got the Patriots out there, so I'm going to keep adding to this list as we keep going. So I've listened. The reason is like we didn't say the Jets yet because we were a little unsure if they get.
They are still in it,
and I don't want to go back on it. So Colts are still 3-3. I really after a game like this, I want to throw them on it, but I'm not going to do after a game like this. So all right. So just to be clear, we got Patriots, Broncos, Giants, Cardinals, Bears, Panthers. We're saying season's over. Go home. If the Giants, should we maybe rethink the Giants one a little bit here? Should we rethink it?
No.
If they get a W? No, they're dead.
They're dead.
All right, they're dead. All right, so we got that. All right, we got to get here closer to the fourth quarter of the pod here. News and notes segment here on the show. All right, Stroud, he goes. We'll hit on some of the games here real quick. They beat the Panthers, or they beat the Saints, 20-13. Stroud, Jimmy, continuing to show a little quarterback light there. I'm not saying they're unreal, but a young rookie quarterback to get wins is a win. And Derek Carr, he throws goal line. He throws short of the sticks. My guy DA tweeted it. He goes, "This is all this guy does is throw short of the first down." Yes, there is stress when it comes to this guy. And I got to say, as I said right here, I'm starting to believe in the Texans a little bit as a team that can make the playoffs. Am I crazy, or does it seem pretty realistic?
It's realistic because DeMeco Ryans, he's gotten to where he is in the right way. This is not. And I think some people might have conflated the two. This is not Jeff Saturday being plucked out of middle of nowhere, like off of the ESPN desk. DeMeco Ryans started as a quality control coach when he was a coach in the NFL after his playing career. Been around a lot of really high-level guys. He was a quality control / defensive coordinator in San Francisco, learned under those guys. Like this is somebody who knows how to be an NFL head coach and learn those steps before. And he knows the right process. He's not bringing something where he's not bringing the Patriot way. He's not doing the Josh McDaniels, I'm going to come in and I'm going to change the culture. No, I'm doing this because this is the correct culture that we need to have. We have a young quarterback. We need to be able to run the ball. We need to play good defense. And he needs to make sure that he doesn't make mistakes. And if we do those things, we're going to be pretty successful. And right now they've been doing those things. And yes, CJ Stroud has been very successful. That's a good win for him today.
Yeah.
And they were in the game last week against Atlanta too. Probably should have won that one.
Yeah. They probably should have won that game last week. And I thought he played really good at the end of that game. And he's building up like calluses in these games where like I feel like he doesn't make honestly like
the coaching staff, you're gonna say it. The coaching staff has said he doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, and you can see it because and he's avoided like the plays like Hurts made, just for example, at the end of today. Just like he's avoided most of those throws, which has really helped him as a rookie quarterback kind of keep the games where they're at and not blow a game like today where it could have gone either way if he makes a pick late in the game or something like that. So kudos to them pulling out. The Saints dropped to 3-3. Like I said, when you have Derek Carr as your quarterback, that's kind of what you get a little bit. It just doesn't get – it's not like, 11-5. I was Terrell, NFC Championship. I know he's listed last week. He was calling me out for a few things. I got to shout out our guy there over at Realism Sports, of course, Terrell Jenkins, tuning in and commenting in last week. So I hope you're doing good out there, my man. Hopefully once my school job slows down a little bit, I can jump back on your show Friday nights a little bit. Been busy. I'm looking forward to that. Can I already say it, Jimmy? Look forward to Thanksgiving break.
I'm on fall break. I'm already looking forward to Thanksgiving break.
Next week we get out a little bit early, get Thursday, Friday off. So I'll be looking forward to that for teacher in service. But all right, hey, news and notes here. Keep moving here. Jags, they get the dub. They pull out easy win against the Colts. Lawrence does go down, though. We'll have testing on the knee. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest news coming out of this game. They pretty much worked the Colts from the very beginning. Brian Minshew looked terrible today. He did not look good at all in this game. He looked absolutely pathetic. And the Jaguars rolled, and their running back, I just always have a hard time with names, so give me a little break. He was really good again. So I don't know. I just thought the Jaguars, they're starting to look a little bit more like kind of how we thought they would after the first kind of couple games there. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
ETN is turned into something the last couple of weeks. He's got the speed to be a game breaker. Yeah. Lawrence needs to be healthy, because if he's not healthy, then there's nothing there. And I agree that Gardner Minshew turned into Uncle Rico today. That was an Uncle Rico performance. That wasn't Gardner Minshew. I've seen Gardner Minshew make a lot of people's life hell. and I love this story. You guys heard the story where he tried to break his own hand with a hammer so that he could get an extra year of eligibility in college?
My gosh.
Tried to smash his own hand. It was his left hand. That was his rationale. He's like, I'll smash my left hand with a hammer. Cool. I'll probably be able to play another season. No, there's.
I guess that shows a little bit right there. Shows a little.
You should have taken care of your shiny new toy. You should have taken care of your franchise quarterback, because now he's injured and you're stuck with this for at least the foreseeable future.
And it sounds like, according to Fox NFL Sunday, that he's going to have season-ending shoulder surgery. Anthony Richardson.
He was in a sling today. It doesn't look like he's going to make any more miraculous comebacks.
Yeah.
That's a killer, though, for that. The Jaguars, though, they really obviously Lawrence. They play Thursday night, so we'll see what happens there.
Against the Saints.
Yeah, so quick turnaround there, obviously. I think he might – sometimes they play in these games, they get like 148 yards, right? Like they play these guys and nothing really happens. So that's kind of the way I see that going. Little news and note here. We talked about the Bears losing to the Vikings 19-13. Vikings get the W. Cousins, real quick, a note. They expect him not to waive his trade clause there. Justin Jefferson, fantasy owners, he's out for a while. You saw that today. Doesn't maybe affect the Vikings going forward, but like for you guys next week, you guys play the Vikings. It's nice not to have to worry about Jefferson. So it does help these teams that go with them. The Bears, it doesn't matter. The Bears, it doesn't matter at all. Just a complete dumpster fire, like we said. So they get another team that kind of a little interesting here. The Ravens, they get a win, Jimmy, but to me, not another. It's just not a special win. You just kind of, I guess you chalk it up, but it's not one that where you're like, this is a team that's making any type of serious run. They just kind of just do the ho-hum.
They're going to have a stretch of the season where they fall out of first place in the division. They're not going to hold on to number one in the division for the entire year. The Browns, the Bengals, somebody's going to sneak up on them, and they're going to drop a couple games that they shouldn't, because they almost did that today. I unfortunately did pick the Titans to pull the upset, and they screwed me in our podcast. Yeah, it was, and I had my reasons. It's not like Tennessee sucks. I mean, Tennessee just put it on the Bengals. I can't sit here and say Tennessee sucks. But they should have been able to win this game. And if you're Baltimore, I go back to the Broncos game from last year. That was when the Broncos were at the lowest of the low with Nathaniel Hackett. It was 2 weeks before he was even fired yet. So, and the Ravens, when they cheese that game, I just have zero faith. Until you prove it to me otherwise, I have zero faith of you in big games moving forward.
Now, one of the big news, since this game was in London, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it real quick, is I said that I think I bring this up every year, and I feel like it's eventually going to happen. Brian, NFL is mulling a Super Bowl in London at some point. Do you actually believe this, or is just talk to kind of, is this just kind of like, talk just to kind of keep the games coming back?
Yeah, I could see a European Super Bowl at some point.
Gosh, unreal.
I will dump the tea back in the Boston Harbor. I will
full on revolt. The Premier League's not coming to the United States to play their championship game. Why are we going to England to play our champ? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
It's all about that money for Roger Goodell.
Play it in Alaska for all. At least you see that.
I feel like you lose money. I feel like you lose money because you get all of the Europeans to fly here.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting take going out of it. And the Titans, again, Henry a little bit better game, but Hopkins, your agent, you guys maybe should have made a better decision on where to go. The Titans probably was not the best fit for you. You're just not.
Why didn't they put Livis in instead of that
Willis.
other guy?
Yeah. I mean, Willis didn't even look that bad. He played like a short term, but like I don't think Levi's didn't look that unreal. Or Levis. I don't think he looked. Levi's was the joke we had for him. That's right. Levis is the Levis was not ready in preseason. What was the targets they put up for him early in the preseason? I don't think you want to throw a rookie out there in Europe against the Ravens the last kind of like quarter of the or last like half of the game. So I think that was part of it. I have a last couple games here. Raiders, they beat the Patriots 21-17. Crosby wins Defensive Player of the Week. Last week, he has a good game again today. He gets the game-winning safety there against McAttack. I will say they had a ball that was dropped on the play before on a deep throw that would have changed the whole game if he was able to come down with it. Elliott also had a 75-yard touchdown run called back on a hold as well for the Patriots. So anything that could go wrong did go wrong. As you mentioned earlier in the game, Brian, Jimmy G did go down, so it was Hoyer time for the Raiders. They pull out the W. They go to 3-3, and the Rams, they also go to 3-3 with an ugly win over the Cardinals. So any thoughts on either of those games, gentlemen? Jimmy?
I liked the cool thing about the Raiders game. Now, my mom is born and raised in Colorado. She's the Broncos fan of our household. She has nothing good or nothing nice ever to say about the Raiders. But when we were watching the recap and the highlights today, she did look at me and go, Max Crosby is pretty badass. Like, even though he's on the Raiders, Max Crosby is the one guy that I will say he's pretty badass from. Now, she's probably going to be mad that I'm putting her on the spot and putting her business out there. But she did say that. She did say that Max Crosby as a Raider is not that bad.
That's respect for your opponent. And it's funny how I feel that same way as a Raiders fan towards Broncos. That's how I feel toward. That's where I think it's mutual there.
I was not allowed to have silver and black in my color wheel.
Mike
I could wear silver or black, but if I wore silver and black, I was getting kicked out.
It always whenever I lose, I hated playing the Broncos, but then when we beat you guys, I always felt really good back in the day. So
how often was that?
Not very often. That was not.
I think the Patriots should tank for the number one pick. Just
I think they don't even have to tank. I think it sounds like that's the way it's going right now. Like their offensive line's not that great. They lost their two best defensive players a week ago or a couple weeks ago, so they're in deep trouble. The Rams, they get kind of an easy win. I feel like against the Cardinals. I mean, it wasn't an easy win, but it just the Cardinals can't do anything. Dobbs was after a while, so Raiders get that W there. All right, let's get to Monday night. Logan mentioned earlier. Who you got? Cowboys at Chargers. Cowboys need to bounce back after just a butt kicking to your San Francisco 49ers, 42-10. Dak took a lot of heat, which he rightfully deserved. He looked terrible in that game. He looked like unsure about anything. And then you have the Chargers with 2-2, sums it up. They've won their last 3 Monday night games, including both last year. Jimmy, you got a feeling about this game one way or the other?
I picked the Chargers because I'm tired of the Cowboys and I'm tired of faking like we're all going to be in on the Cowboys. They suck. They always get too big for themselves. They always get out over ahead of themselves. And all last Sunday did was prove that they are not the same league, same stratosphere, nothing. The 49ers are a different entity entirely than the Dallas Cowboys. So I think that the Chargers, they're not going to find a way to lose this one. They're coming off their bye, so I think they get this win at home on Monday night. I picked them on our show. I'm picking them again.
Still 6-0 there here in the game. That's a good call.
Diggs almost just fought Dexter Lawrence, by the way.
Which would have been a nice little interesting thing to see there on live on TV. I love how just don't throw the punches with the helmet on. That's the only one that doesn't make sense to me at all.
You just break your hand.
Yeah, exactly. Brian, you think the Chargers get the W or the Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. I just think that the Cowboys are just probably.
You guys stole their soul last week.
Yeah, I mean, if they go down again back-to-back West Coast, they can't be a beating again. You got to show some heart, right? Like you can't be a 35-7 loss. You got to show a little heart in a W like this. This has to be a close game. Then I'm with you, maybe Jimmy, where like it's back-to-back like butt whoopings. Maybe that soul did get taken a little bit here on the West Coast, and you'd have to really bounce back. What would their record be? Their record would be 3-3. So yeah, that would be a big loss if they go down here. And Jimmy, Jerry Jones, all things Oh, we might probably make a desperate trade. Kirk Cousins. No, just kidding. Kirk on the call there.
Kirk, I was thinking about it, and I think you're in my shower this morning. I was thinking about it, and I think you are the quarterback that's going to lead us down to the future. So I want you. What I'm asking is, will you please waive your trade clause so that you can come to Dallas and shower, not with me, but in my shower, and be our team starting quarterback? I think that would be real swell.
Well done. Nobody wants to see the shower, though. That's for sure. All right. Hey, look ahead to week 7. Some of our best matchups here. Like I said, we got Jaguars Saints going Thursday. Primetime game. You already mentioned it, Brian, a little bit too. It's a good one. Dolphins at Philadelphia. So that'll be a good one. And then Monday night, your Niners versus the Vikings. It's not a terrible Monday night game. A couple other good ones. I thought Chargers at Chiefs. Not a bad one there. Looks like Jimmy, your Bengals got a bye next week. Any of those games, or maybe another one you saw stand out to you going into week 7?
Let's see. I'm glad that we made it to 3-3 at the bye week. I was nervous about that.
Yeah.
No. The Ravens-Lions game, I like that one quite a bit because I think that the Lions, that's one of the games where you can make yourself a statement. Because the Ravens they're favored, they're at home. I think that you can make a case for that one. And other than that, I feel like it's fairly easy. The Broncos-Packers game is going to be as ugly as possible.
Oh, man.
It's going to be like,
I was thinking.
Please don't turn that one on. Please don't have that on at all.
Falcons Bucks. That sounds kind of like that could be a rock fight too. Falcons Bucks. That sounds like a good old rock fight there. With Steelers Rams. I got that. Maybe that one. I don't know. Rev, could his Steelers get the win in LA? That could be a
Aaron
one.
Donald versus TJ Watt.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good matchup.
Raiders Bears. See if my Raiders can keep it going. Maybe get over 500. That would be unbelievable. I'll take that. We go over 5. We have our schedule. We play the Lions. Other than that, over the next 4 weeks, there's 3 of those games are really winnable. So we'll see if they're not doing good, but you just keep winning.
The Broncos are going to beat you when they play them in Vegas, so that McDaniels gets fired after that game.
Just for losing to the Broncos, maybe he doesn't.
And I already know my survival football pick for week 7.
Are you still going?
Bills over Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Anything with the Patriots, I guess that's not a bad. You're still going. That's impressive. Vikings let me down week 1. All right. Hey, it's game ball part of the game here. As I get one last little check in here, still 6-0 here. Giants got the lead or have the lead over the Bills. So as we kind of get done with as we kind of wrap up the show here, it's the game ball part of the show here, week 6. Brian, you got a game ball to hand out?
Yeah, I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns defense that they deserve. I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns defense the game ball.
There you go.
They were legit today.
They were down. How many times over under did you cuss at the TV today? Over under.
Probably it wasn't until the 4th quarter, but then I was getting frustrated because we couldn't get anything going on offense.
What play pissed you off the most?
Just the intentional grounding by Purdy because I was there's nobody there, man. Why are you throwing the ball?
That one was a killer there. All right, Browns defense, a little humble pie there. I can respect that. Jimmy, you got a game ball you want to hand out?
I'm probably going to give it to Tua because when I give it to Tua, then he's probably going to start playing bad again. But I gave him a hard time. I've coined the term jujitsu, but jujitsu was working. His jujitsu training, he's not nearly as injured as he was, and they're a damn good team. I'm interested to see what they do at the end of the season because I think that's when defensive coordinators are going to flip. But as of now, Tua and that Miami offense in general, they probably all deserve a game ball.
No doubt. I got one of them for you. Tyreek Hill, 163 yards and a touchdown. I also wanted to shout out our guy, Kyrie Williams. He gets 20 carries, 158 yards for the Rams and a touchdown over the Cardinals. So a big win for them. Like I said, that takes them to 3-3. All right. Well, that's the show for the week this week on Talkin' the Gridiron. Jimmy, I know you guys got your stuff going at far end of the bench. Was able to watch the show this week. You guys did a good job on that. Always a little Taylor Swift comment as well, so I appreciate some of those as with it, the funny with it. So what do you guys got going on this week on far end of the bench?
Yeah, we did. Ended up taking a week off of Sunday Scaries and Top of the Mountain. Like last week before break, there was a lot of added stress, so
Yep.
giving myself that little bit of time, and I knew I had break coming up, so I'll probably get a couple episodes of both those out. Then obviously our far end of the bench will be out on Thursday, just like normal. So Nico and I will be back with everybody at FEOTB Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. People can watch this show on Sundays also, but Sunday Scaries, Top of the Mountain, far end of the bench, all coming at you guys this week.
And my Sharks almost beat his Avalanche last night. Almost. They almost got him. You guys got the goal late at the end.
We're so worried about the number 2 game of an 82-game season.
Hey, for the Sharks, every game matters. You can't lose when you're expected to be in last place. You need to get the win.
I saw an article about any team's chances to win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years, and the Sharks had the worst 32.
That's why I was telling Jimmy. It's a big win. We needed it. It's a big win.
I won a Stanley Cup for him in my NHL franchise in my career.
Yeah, we did it. We got a win. We'll take it where we can go there with it. All right, Jimmy's up late with me. He's an hour ahead of me out on mountain time there. Jimmy, have a good week of your break. You still on break this week? Then you go back.
No, we're on break this week.
All right, so enjoy your break this week. Happy birthday as well, there, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So for Jimmy Pilato, far to the bench, Brian the Main Man Johnson, I'm Daren Breyer. That's your Week 6 recap here on Talkin the Gridiron. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe there. We need all the love we can get. Till next time, peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety Sports Network. Thank you again for watching tonight's show. Best way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and hitting the notifications so you don't miss